Mary, before we start today's episode, I want to ask you and everyone listening a question.
Uh-oh. Whenever you start like that, I know something interesting is coming. What's the question?
Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, they're lucky, they're talented, they're different from me?
Honestly, yes. I think almost everyone has thought that at least once.
I agree. But today, I want to tell you a story that completely changed the way I think about success. It's about a woman who lost almost everything, and yet she built a life that most people only dream about.
Wow. That already sounds emotional. Is it a true story?
That's a great question. Some parts are inspired by real events, and some parts are changed to help us learn today's lesson. But I promise you this, by the end of today's episode, you'll understand why this story matters.
Okay, I'm ready, but you know me. I'm probably going to stop you every few minutes.
I hope you do, because every time you stop me, we'll learn some real English together.
And don't worry if English isn't your first language. Whenever James uses a new word or expression, we'll explain it in simple English.
Exactly. No difficult grammar lessons, just real English through a real conversation.
Let's begin. Who's the woman?
Her name was Emma. She was 36 years old. She had a small apartment, a 5-year-old daughter, and a husband she loved very much. Life wasn't perfect, but it was peaceful.
Peaceful. That's a nice word. Can we explain it?
Of course. If something is peaceful, it's calm, quiet, without a lot of stress or problems. For example, a quiet beach early in the morning feels peaceful, or sitting in a garden while listening to birds.
So Emma's life wasn't exciting every day, but it was peaceful.
Exactly. Great sentence. Now, everything changed on one rainy Tuesday.
That doesn't sound good. What happened?
Emma received a phone call. It lasted less than 1 minute. When she put her phone down, she couldn't speak. She couldn't move. She just stared out the window.
James, what did she hear?
Her husband had been in a serious car accident. He didn't survive.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is. And heartbreaking is another useful word.
What does heartbreaking mean?
If something is heartbreaking, it makes you feel deep sadness. For example, losing someone you love can be heartbreaking. Hearing very bad news can also be heartbreaking.
So losing her husband was heartbreaking for Emma.
Exactly. For weeks, she couldn't believe what had happened. Friends came to visit, family helped when they could, but eventually, everyone went back to their own lives.
I think that's something many people don't talk about. At first, there are lots of people around you. Then slowly, life becomes quiet again.
You're right. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the first week. It's the weeks after that.
Because that's when reality begins.
Exactly. One evening, Emma sat at her kitchen table. She opened her notebook. Then, she opened a drawer and took out a stack of unpaid bills.
Unpaid bills? Can we explain that?
Absolutely. A bill is a paper, or sometimes an email, that tells you how much money you owe. For example, your electric bill, your phone bill, or your internet bill. If it's unpaid, it means you haven't paid it yet.
So Emma had several unpaid bills.
Yes, and for the first time, she realized something. She didn't just lose her husband, she had also lost the family's main source of income.
Income. That's another useful word.
Good catch. Income is the money you receive from your job or business. If you work every month and receive a salary, that's your income.
So without her husband's income, paying those bills became much harder.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you something, Mary. Imagine you're in Emma's situation. You have very little money, a young child to care for, and no clear plan. What would you do first?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I'd feel completely overwhelmed.
That's a very honest answer. And overwhelmed is a word many English learners hear. If you feel overwhelmed, you feel like you have too many problems at the same time. you don't know where to begin.
So Emma wasn't just sad, she was overwhelmed.
Exactly. But here's where the story becomes interesting. Most people think this is the moment Emma's life changed. It wasn't. Her life changed because of something that happened the very next morning. Something so small that almost anyone would have ignored it.
Now you've got my attention. What happened the next morning? Because whatever it was, it sounds like that tiny moment changed everything.
The next morning, Emma woke up before the sun came up. She couldn't sleep anymore. She walked quietly into the kitchen, made herself a cup of tea, and sat in complete silence.
I can almost imagine that scene. Sometimes silence can feel very loud.
That's a beautiful way to say it. When someone says, silence feels loud, they don't mean there's actual noise. They mean their thoughts are so strong that the silence feels heavy.
So Emma wasn't hearing sounds, she was hearing her own worries.
Exactly. She looked around the kitchen. Everything reminded her of her old life. Her husband's favorite coffee mug, her jacket hanging behind the door, even the empty chair across the table.
Those little things can be the hardest.
Sometimes they are. Then her daughter walked into the kitchen, still wearing her pajamas, still half asleep. She climbed onto Emma's lap, looked into her mother's eyes, and asked one simple question.
What did she ask?
She asked, "Mom, are we going to be okay?"
Oh, that's such a simple question, but I imagine it was very difficult to answer.
Exactly. Emma wanted to say, "I don't know," because honestly, she didn't know. But instead, she smiled, hugged her daughter, and said, "Yes, we'll figure it out."
Figure it out. That's a phrase people use all the time. Can we explain it?
Absolutely. To figure something out means to find a solution to a problem. For example, your computer stops working. After trying a few things, you finally fix it. You figured it out. Or maybe you don't understand an English sentence at first, but after reading it again, you understand it. You figured it out.
So Emma didn't know the answer yet, but she believed they would figure it out.
Exactly. Now, here's something interesting. Do you think Emma believed her own words?
I don't think she did. I think she wanted her daughter to feel safe.
I think you're right. Sometimes, the words we say to encourage someone else are the exact words we need to hear ourselves.
I've never thought about it that way.
After breakfast, Emma opened her laptop. She started looking for jobs. One after another, she read the job descriptions.
Did she find anything?
She found plenty of jobs, but every time she clicked on one, she found another reason not to apply.
Like what?
Reads as if reading the screen. 5 years of experience required. I don't have that. Excellent communication skills. I'm not good enough. University degree preferred. I don't have that either.
I think many people have done exactly that. You start reading a job advertisement, and before you even apply, you've already rejected yourself.
Exactly. Notice something. Nobody told Emma you're not good enough. She told herself.
That's an important difference. Sometimes our biggest critic isn't another person. It's our own voice.
Exactly. Now let's learn a useful word. Critic.
Critic. What does critic mean?
A critic is someone who points out mistakes or problems. Sometimes that's another person. But we also have an inner critic. That's the voice inside our head that says, "You're not smart enough. You're going to fail. You shouldn't even try."
So Emma's inner critic was louder than anyone else.
Exactly. Now, let me ask everyone listening something. Have you ever wanted to speak English, but before opening your mouth, your mind said, "What if I make a mistake?" If that has happened to you, you're not alone.
I've done that many times. Sometimes I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but my inner critic spoke first.
And that's why this story isn't really about finding a job. It's about learning to stop listening to that negative voice.
James, did Emma finally apply for one of those jobs?
Not yet, because something happened first. Something so unexpected that she almost closed her laptop and forgot about the job search completely.
Now you've made me curious again. What happened?
As she was about to close the laptop, a small email notification appeared in the corner of her screen. Normally, she would have ignored it, but one word in the subject line caught her attention.
What was the word?
It simply said, opportunity.
Opportunity. Sometimes one word can change the direction of an entire life. Now I really want to know what was inside that email.
Emma stared at the screen. For a moment, she almost ignored the email. She thought, it's probably another advertisement. But something made her click on it.
Have you ever done that? Ignored an email and later realized it was important?
More than once, which is why I always tell people, don't judge an email only by its subject line. Sometimes the biggest opportunity arrives looking very ordinary.
I think that's true in life, too. Sometimes opportunities don't look exciting at first.
Exactly. Now, let's explain that word properly. Opportunity. An opportunity is a good chance to do something. For example, if someone offers you a better job, that's an opportunity. If someone invites you to practice English, that's also an opportunity.
So the email might be an opportunity, but Emma doesn't know it yet.
Exactly. She opened the email. It was from a woman named Claire. Emma read the first sentence, then read it again.
Okay, what did it say?
It said, "Hello, Emma. I don't think you remember me. We met 3 years ago at a community event."
3 years? That's a long time ago. Did Emma remember her?
Not at first. She kept reading. "You once helped me carry several heavy boxes to my car. You probably forgot about it. I never did."
Oh, I like where this is going. Sometimes small acts of kindness come back to us.
Exactly. Now here's a useful expression, an act of kindness.
What does that mean?
An act of kindness is a small thing you do to help another person. For example, holding the door open, helping someone carry bags, or simply listening when a friend needs to talk. Those are all acts of kindness.
So helping someone with heavy boxes was an act of kindness.
Perfect. Now, the email continued. "I recently started my own company. We're looking for someone reliable. Your name came to mind immediately."
Wait, she remembered Emma after 3 years?
She did. Not because Emma had a perfect resume. Not because Emma had impressive qualifications. Because Emma had been kind.
That's such an important lesson. People remember how you make them feel.
Exactly. James Clear writes something similar in Atomic Habits. He explains that small actions seem unimportant at the moment, but over time they create remarkable results. Emma helping with those boxes took maybe 5 minutes. 3 years later, those 5 minutes opened a completely unexpected door.
Interesting. I've heard of Atomic Habits. So the book isn't only about building habits?
Not at all. One of its biggest ideas is that small actions matter more than we think. Most people want big changes, but they ignore the tiny decisions they make every day.
That reminds me of learning English. People want to become fluent quickly, but they forget that learning 10 new words every week can completely change their English after 1 year.
Exactly. That's a perfect connection. Now, Emma reached the last line of the email. It said, "Would you be interested in meeting for coffee tomorrow?"
Coffee? That sounds promising. Did she finally get a job interview?
Maybe, or maybe something completely different.
You're doing it again. You never answer my questions directly.
Because real life doesn't always give us answers immediately. Sometimes it gives us another question.
James, what would you do? Would you go? Or would you think, it's probably nothing?
Today, I'd go. But if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I probably would have made an excuse.
Really? Why?
Because I used to think, what if they don't like me? What if I'm not good enough? What if I embarrass myself?
I think many listeners just nodded their heads. Those thoughts sound very familiar.
Can I ask everyone listening something? How many opportunities have you missed, not because you weren't capable, but because you were afraid? Just think about that for a moment. No one else needs to know the answer.
And if you're thinking, yes, I've missed a few, please don't be too hard on yourself.
That's another useful expression. Don't be too hard on yourself.
I like that expression. Can you explain it?
Of course. If you're too hard on yourself, you expect perfection. You focus only on your mistakes. You forget to notice your progress. For example, you have a 10-minute conversation in English. You make one small grammar mistake. If you only think about that one mistake, you're being too hard on yourself.
So a better idea would be to say, I made one mistake, but I also spoke English for 10 minutes.
Exactly. That's real progress. Now, Emma closed her laptop. She looked at her daughter's drawing hanging on the refrigerator. She took one deep breath, opened the email again, and typed just 4 words. I'd love to come.
4 simple words, but I have a feeling they were about to change Emma's life forever.
The next afternoon, Emma arrived at the cafe 15 minutes early.
That's me. If I'm nervous, I'm always early.
Really? I'm the opposite. I keep checking the time every 2 minutes because I'm afraid of being late.
So between the two of us, we'd probably arrive exactly on time.
Probably. Now, Emma sat near the window. She looked at the menu, but she wasn't really reading it. Her mind was somewhere else.
She was thinking about the meeting.
Exactly. She kept asking herself, what if Claire doesn't remember me? What if she changes her mind? What if I'm wasting my time?
It's amazing how our minds create problems before anything has even happened.
You're absolutely right. Can we teach another useful expression?
Of course.
The expression is jump to conclusions.
I've heard that before. What does it mean?
To jump to conclusions means you decide something is true before you have enough information. For example, your friend doesn't reply to your message for 1 hour. You immediately think, they're angry with me. Maybe they're just busy. You jumped to a conclusion.
So between the two of us...
Probably. Now, Emma sat near the window. She looked at the menu, but she wasn't really reading it. Her mind was somewhere else.
She was thinking about the meeting.
Exactly. She kept asking herself, what if Claire doesn't remember me? What if she changes her mind? What if I'm wasting my time?
It's amazing how our minds create problems before anything has even happened.
You're absolutely right. Can we teach another useful expression?
Of course.
The expression is jump to conclusions.
I've heard that before. What does it mean?
To jump to conclusions means you decide something is true before you have enough information. For example, your friend doesn't reply to your message for 1 hour. You immediately think, they're angry with me. Maybe they're just busy. You jumped to a conclusion.
So Emma was jumping to conclusions before Claire even arrived.
Exactly. And I think many English learners do the same thing. They make one small mistake while speaking, then immediately think, my English is terrible. That's jumping to conclusions too.
Can I ask everyone something? Have you ever made one small English mistake and then thought, I'll never become fluent? If you have, don't worry. Most learners have felt that way.
Exactly. One mistake doesn't tell your whole story. Just like one cloudy day doesn't mean the whole year will have bad weather.
I like that comparison.
A few minutes later, Claire walked into the cafe. She looked around, smiled, and walked straight towards Emma. Before saying a single word, she gave Emma a warm hug.
A hug? I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was Emma. Immediately, she felt a little more relaxed.
Can we explain relaxed?
Of course. If you feel relaxed, you feel calm. Your body isn't full of stress anymore. For example, after finishing a difficult exam, many students feel relaxed, or after a long vacation.
So Emma was nervous when she arrived, but after seeing Claire, she felt more relaxed.
Perfect. Then Claire sat down and said something surprising. She said, Emma, this isn't a job interview.
Wait, what? Then why did she invite her?
Emma was just as confused. She smiled politely and asked, it isn't? Claire shook her head. No. I already know you're the kind of person I want to work with.
How could she know that? They only met once.
That's exactly what Emma asked. Claire smiled. Then she said, because I watch how people treat others. especially when nobody's asking them to help.
Wow, that's powerful.
She continued, 3 years ago, you stayed after everyone else had gone home. You helped me carry those heavy boxes. You didn't know my name. You didn't expect anything in return. I've never forgotten that.
James, that's a lesson people don't hear often. Your character, your values, the way you treat people, those things can open doors years later.
Exactly. Let's explain another useful word, character.
Yes. What does character mean here?
In this conversation, character doesn't mean a person in a movie or a book. It means the kind of person you are. If you're honest, kind, and reliable, those are parts of your character.
So Claire trusted Emma because of her character, not because of her resume.
Exactly. Excellent sentence.
You know, this reminds me of something I once read. People may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they often remember how you made them feel.
I love that quote. Whether you're speaking English, meeting new people, or building a career, people remember the feeling you leave behind.
That actually takes away a lot of pressure, because instead of trying to sound perfect, I can focus on being kind, being interested, and really listening.
Exactly. Those are communication skills too. Sometimes they're even more important than perfect grammar.
Can you explain relaxed? Thanks. So, Emma was nervous when she arrived, but after seeing Claire, she felt more relaxed.
So, did Claire offer Emma the job, or is there another surprise coming? Knowing me, what do you think?
There's definitely another surprise. You never make it that easy.
You're learning my storytelling style. Claire reached into her bag, placed a small notebook on the table, slid it towards Emma, and said, "This is why I invited you."
A notebook? Now you've done it again. I have absolutely no idea what's inside it, and I can't wait to find out.
Emma looked down at the notebook. It wasn't new. The corners were bent. The cover had a few scratches. It looked like someone had used it every day.
That's interesting. Why would Claire bring an old notebook instead of a resume or a contract?
Emma wondered exactly the same thing. She looked at Claire and asked, "What is this?"
And?
Claire smiled. "This," she said, "is where my company really started."
Wait, the company started in a notebook?
Not an office, not in a big building, not with investors. It started with one notebook and one idea.
I think that's something people forget. When we see a successful company, we only see where it is today. We don't see how small it was at the beginning.
Exactly. And here's a useful word, investors.
What are investors?
An investor is a person who gives money to a business because they believe it will grow. They hope the business becomes successful. For example, if someone gives money to help you start a company, they're an investor.
So Claire didn't begin with investors, she began with one notebook.
Exactly. Now, Claire opened the notebook. Every page was filled with handwritten notes, small sketches, ideas, goals, lists, even mistakes. Nothing looked perfect.
That sounds exactly like my notebook. Sometimes I don't even understand my own handwriting.
Mine isn't much better, but here's the interesting part. Claire wasn't embarrassed by the messy pages. She was proud of them.
Why?
Claire pointed to the first page. At the top, there was only one sentence. "Today, I begin."
That's it? Just 4 words?
Yes. Claire smiled and said, "I wrote these words 6 years ago. I had no business, no customers, no office, no money. But I decided that day I would stop waiting."
James, that reminds me of something. People often wait until everything is perfect. The perfect time, the perfect job, the perfect English. But maybe that day never comes.
I think you're absolutely right. There's a famous saying that fits here. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
I've heard that before. What does it really mean?
It means you may regret not starting earlier, but you can't change the past. What you can change is today. If you wanted to learn English 5 years ago, that's wonderful. But if you didn't, today is still a great day to begin.
So instead of feeling guilty about yesterday, I should focus on what I can do today.
Exactly. Now let me ask everyone listening something. Imagine you could go back 5 years. What's one thing you wish you had started? Learning English? Reading books? Exercising? Saving money? Now here's a better question. What's stopping you from starting today?
I think that's a much more useful question because we can't change the past, but we can still change tomorrow.
Claire turned another page. There was a list of goals. Most of them had little boxes beside them. Some boxes had check marks. Many didn't.
She didn't finish all her goals?
No, and that's what surprised Emma. Claire laughed and said, "See these empty boxes? I never completed those goals."
Really? Most people would hide that.
Exactly. Instead, Claire said, "I wanted to keep them. They remind me that success isn't about doing everything. It's about continuing."
That's another lesson people need to hear. Sometimes we fail one goal and we think we failed completely.
Exactly. Let's learn another useful word. Consistent.
What does consistent mean?
If you're consistent, you keep doing something regularly, not perfectly, regularly. For example, if you study English 20 minutes every day, you're consistent. If you exercise once, then stop for 6 months, you're not being consistent.
So Claire became successful not because she was perfect, but because she was consistent.
Perfect. That might be today's biggest lesson. Success doesn't usually belong to the smartest person. It often belongs to the person who keeps going.
Everyone, let's repeat something together.
Slowly. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be consistent. Repeat.
I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be consistent.
One more time. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be consistent. Repeat.
I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be consistent.
Emma closed the notebook. She looked at Claire, then quietly asked, "If you already trust me, why do you keep showing me this notebook?" Claire smiled. Then she gave an answer that Emma would never forget.
Okay, I have a feeling this answer is going to change everything. What did Claire say?
Claire looked at Emma for a few seconds. Then she gently tapped the notebook and said, "Because this notebook isn't really about my business."
Then what's it about?
Claire smiled. It's about permission.
Permission? Can we explain that word?
Absolutely. Permission means allowing someone to do something. For example, if you want to borrow your friend's bicycle, you ask for permission. If they say yes, they've given you permission.
But how does that connect to the notebook?
Claire smiled. Emma asked the same question. Claire leaned forward and said, "For years, I waited for someone to tell me I was ready. I waited for someone to say, 'You're smart enough. You're experienced enough. Now you can start.'"
I think many people are waiting for that.
Exactly. Then Claire smiled and said, "One day I realized that person was never coming."
Wow.
Claire continued, "So I gave myself permission. I opened this notebook and wrote, 'Today I begin.'"
James, that's powerful. She stopped waiting for someone else to believe in her. She decided to believe in herself first.
Exactly. Can I ask everyone listening something?
Take your time. Really think about your answer.
Looking toward the audience, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting until your English is perfect? Are you waiting until you have more money, more confidence, more experience? Or are you waiting for someone to tell you, "Now you're ready"?
If that's you, I hope you remember Claire's words. Sometimes the permission you've been waiting for has to come from you.
Exactly. Now let's learn another useful word. Believe.
That's a simple word, but people use it in many different ways.
They do. To believe means to think something is true. For example, I believe this plan will work, or I believe in you. When someone says, "I believe in you," they mean, "I trust your ability to succeed."
So Claire finally believed in herself, and now she believed in Emma too.
Exactly. That's perfect English.
So did Emma accept the job?
You always ask the question everyone is thinking.
Someone has to.
Claire smiled. She looked down at the notebook one more time. Then she looked back at Claire. She took a deep breath and said, "Yes. But I have to tell you something first."
What did she say?
She said, "I'm scared. I haven't worked for years. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't want to disappoint you."
I like that she was honest. She didn't pretend to be confident.
Exactly. Claire smiled. Then she laughed.
She laughed? Why?
She said, "Emma, do you know what I felt on my first day?"
What?
I felt exactly the same. I was scared. I made mistakes. I doubted myself. But I kept showing up.
Showing up. That's another expression people hear a lot. Can we explain it?
Definitely. To show up means to arrive and be present. But it also has another meaning. It means you continue to make the effort even when it's difficult. For example, if you practice English every day, you're showing up for your dream. If you keep exercising even when you don't feel like it, you're showing up.
So Claire wasn't saying, I was perfect. She was saying, I kept showing up.
Exactly. And honestly, I think that's one of the most important lessons anyone can learn. Everyone listening, repeat after me. I will keep showing up.
I will keep showing up.
Even when it's difficult.
Even when it's difficult.
Emma smiled. For the first time in many months, she didn't feel like someone who had lost everything. She felt like someone who was beginning again.
James, I think that's a beautiful difference. One way of thinking looks backwards. The other looks forward.
I agree. And just as Emma thought the conversation was over, Claire reached into her bag one more time. This time, she didn't take out a notebook. She took out something much smaller. She placed it gently on the table and said, "I've been waiting to give this to the right person."
First, the notebook, and now something else? Okay, I absolutely have no idea what it is, but I already know it must have an important story behind it.
Emma looked down. It was an old key. Small. Silver. Nothing special. At least, that's what she thought.
A key? Please don't tell me this is some mysterious treasure story.
No treasure. Although, in a way, it was much more valuable.
Now I'm curious. What did the key open?
Claire smiled and said, "This is the key to our first office."
Wait, her first office?
Emma looked confused too. She said, "But don't you have a much bigger office now?" Claire smiled. "We do." "So why keep the old key?" Emma asked.
That's exactly what I would have asked.
Claire turned the little key over in her hand. Then she said, "Because every time I think I've become successful, I look at this key, and it reminds me where everything began."
That's beautiful. It's a reminder.
Exactly. Let's learn that word. Reminder.
What does reminder mean?
Reminder is something that helps you remember. For example, your phone can remind you about a meeting. A photograph can remind you of your childhood. And Claire's old key reminded her of the beginning of her journey.
So the key wasn't important because it opened a door. It was important because of what it reminded her of.
Exactly. That's perfect.
James, do you have anything like that? Something small that reminds you where you started?
Actually, I do. I still have one of my very first notebooks. The handwriting is terrible. The ideas aren't very good. Some pages don't even make sense anymore.
Now I really want to read that notebook.
No, I don't think you do. It's embarrassing.
Exactly why I want to read it.
Maybe one day. But every time I look at it, I remember something important. I wasn't very good, but I was trying.
And that's something people often forget. Everyone admires the expert. Nobody sees the beginner.
Pointing gently. Exactly. Can I ask everyone listening something? Think about something you've improved at. Maybe driving, cooking, playing a sport, speaking English. Were you good on your first day?
Definitely not.
Neither was I. But here's the interesting thing. We usually compare our first chapter to someone else's chapter 20.
I like that. Can we explain what you mean?
Of course. Imagine someone has been learning English for 10 years. You've been learning for 6 months. If you compare yourself to them, it won't feel fair. You're comparing different chapters of the story. Instead, compare yourself to who you were 6 months ago. That's a much better comparison.
So instead of asking, why am I not as fluent as them, I should ask, am I better than I was before?
Exactly. That's real progress.
So what happened next? Did Claire finally give Emma the job?
This time, yes. Claire smiled and slid a simple document across the table. She said, "This is your contract."
Contract. Let's explain that too.
A contract is an official agreement. It explains the work you'll do, how much you'll be paid, and the rules both people agree to follow. When you start many jobs, you sign a contract.
So Emma was finally holding her new job contract.
Exactly. Emma picked up the pen. She was ready to sign. But then, she stopped.
No, don't tell me she changed her mind.
Not exactly. She looked at Claire and asked, "Can I ask you one last question?" Claire smiled. "Of course." Emma took a deep breath and said, "Why me? Out of all the people you could have hired, why me?"
That's the question I would have asked too.
Claire didn't answer immediately. She looked out the cafe window for a moment, then smiled. She said, "Because skills can be taught. Experience comes with time. But kindness, integrity, and the willingness to keep learning, those are much harder to find."
Integrity. That's a new word. Can we explain it?
Absolutely. Integrity means doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. It means being honest, keeping your promises, doing what you say you'll do. For example, if you accidentally receive too much change at a shop and you give the extra money back, that's integrity.
So Clara wasn't only hiring an employee, she was choosing someone she could trust.
Exactly. And trust takes time to build, but only a moment to lose.
I think that's another lesson for everyone learning English. Don't worry only about sounding smart. Be someone people enjoy talking to. Be kind, be honest, listen carefully. Those qualities matter in every language.
Beautifully said. Emma smiled, signed the contract, then looked at Claire and quietly said, "I won't let you down." Claire smiled warmly, and then she shook her head. "No, I don't want you to promise that. I just want you to promise one thing."
Now I'm really curious. What was the one promise Claire wanted Emma to make?
Emma smiled. She was expecting Claire to say, "Promise you'll work hard," or "Promise you'll never be late." Instead, Claire said something completely different.
What did she say?
She said, "Promise me that one day, when someone needs a chance, you'll give them one too."
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was Emma. For a few seconds, she didn't say anything. Then she asked, "You mean help someone else?"
That's a beautiful promise.
Claire smiled. She said, "Exactly. Someone once believed in me, so today I'm believing in you. My hope is that one day you'll believe in someone else."
James, I think that's how kindness spreads. One person helps another, then that person helps someone else.
Exactly. It's like dropping a small stone into a lake. The circles keep getting bigger.
Can we explain that? It's a nice picture.
Of course. When you throw a small stone into calm water, it creates little circles. Those circles move farther and farther away. We call that a ripple effect. The ripple effect means one small action creates many other actions. For example, one kind word might change someone's day. That person becomes happier and is kinder to another person. Your one action keeps spreading.
So, Claire's kindness created a ripple effect. She helped Emma and hoped Emma would help someone else.
Exactly. That's perfect.
You know, this reminds me of something. People often ask, how can I change the world? maybe the better question is, whose world can I change today?
Mary, I love that. It's much less overwhelming. You don't have to help everyone. Just help one person.
Everyone listening, have you ever had someone believe in you before you believed in yourself? Maybe it was a teacher, a parent, a friend, or even a stranger. Take a moment and think about that person.
Because many successful people can remember someone like that. Someone who opened one small door. Someone who simply said, I think you can do this.
James, did Emma keep that promise?
I'm glad you asked, because that's actually my favorite part of the story.
I knew there was another twist. Tell me.
5 years passed. Claire's company grew. Emma grew too. She learned new skills. She became confident. Eventually, she was leading a small team.
That's amazing. From wondering if she was good enough to leading a team?
Exactly. One Monday morning, Emma was interviewing people for a new job. Several candidates came in. Some had impressive resumes. Some had years of experience. Then, one young woman walked into the room. She looked nervous. Her hands were shaking.
That reminds me of Emma.
Exactly. The interview started. The young woman answered a few questions. Then she stopped. She looked embarrassed and said, I'm sorry. I think I'm too nervous.
Poor thing. I can imagine how she felt.
Emma smiled. She closed the resume, pushed it gently to one side. Then she asked, Can I tell you something? The young woman nodded. Emma said, Years ago, I sat exactly where you're sitting. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought someone else deserved the opportunity. But someone believed in me. And today, I'd like to do the same for you.
She kept her promise.
She did. Claire never asked Emma to repay her. She asked Emma to pass kindness forward. And she did.
Pass it forward. That's another expression people hear. Can we explain it?
Absolutely. To pay it forward means that instead of paying back the person who helped you, you help someone else. Imagine someone helps you when you're having a difficult time. Years later, you help another person who's struggling. You've paid that kindness forward.
So Emma couldn't repay Claire for believing in her, but she could pay that kindness forward by believing in someone else.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the most beautiful ideas we've talked about today.
Everyone, repeat after James.
One act of kindness can change a life. Believe in people, especially when they don't believe in themselves.
Believe in people, especially when they don't believe in themselves.
As Emma left work that evening, she opened her bag to look for her keys. That's when she noticed something. Tucked inside one of the pockets was a small silver key. The same key Claire had given her years earlier. On a tiny piece of paper attached to it, Claire had written just 6 words. Someone believed in me first. Emma smiled, closed her bag, looked up at the sky, and whispered, I understand now.
I think that's the first time in this whole story she truly understood what success really meant.
A few weeks later, Emma noticed something surprising. She wasn't just changing her own life anymore. She was changing the people around her.
What do you mean?
The new employee she had hired, the nervous young woman, was becoming more confident every day. One afternoon, Emma walked past her desk. She heard her talking to a customer. She sounded calm, professional, confident.
That must have made Emma feel proud.
It did. When the phone call ended, Emma smiled and said, You're doing a great job. The young woman smiled back and said, I almost didn't come to the interview.
Really?
She nodded. I almost canceled. I kept telling myself someone else would be better. But then, I remembered something my father always told me.
What did he tell her?
He used to say, You'll miss 100% of the chances you never take.
I've heard something similar before. Can we explain it?
Of course. This sentence means if you never try, you can never succeed. Imagine you never apply for a job. Can you get that job? No. If you never speak English, can you become a confident speaker? Probably not. You have to give yourself a chance.
So even if success isn't guaranteed, trying gives me a chance. Not trying gives me no chance at all.
Exactly. That's beautifully said.
James, I just realized something. Throughout the story, Emma kept meeting people who changed her life. Her husband, Claire, the young woman, even her daughter.
You're right. And do you know what all those people had in common?
What?
They all gave Emma something. Not money, not success. A different way of thinking.
Sometimes one conversation changes your direction more than 100 hours of worrying.
Exactly. And that brings us to another useful word, perspective.
I've heard that word many times. What does it mean?
Perspective means the way you see or think about something. Imagine two people standing in the rain. One person says, "What terrible weather." The other says, "The flowers will be happy." The rain is the same. The perspective is different.
So, Emma's situation didn't change overnight. Her perspective changed first. Then her actions changed.
Exactly. And that's true for many things in life. Sometimes, changing your perspective is the first step toward changing your future.
Can I ask everyone listening something? Think about one problem you're facing today. Now ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but it's always worth asking.
A few months later, Emma received another email. This time, it wasn't from Claire. It was from the young woman she had hired. The email was very short, only 3 sentences.
What did it say?
It said, "Thank you for believing in me. Because you gave me this opportunity, I finally believe in myself."
That must have meant everything to Emma.
It did. She smiled, closed the email, looked at the little silver key on her desk. Then she quietly said, "I guess Claire was right."
Right about what?
Claire once told her, "Success isn't measured by how many people work for you. It's measured by how many people become stronger because they met you."
I think that's my favorite sentence from today's episode.
Mine too. Because whether you're learning English, starting a new career, or simply trying to become a better person, people may forget your job title. They may forget how much money you made, but they'll remember how you treated them.
James, I think the story wasn't really about losing everything. It was about discovering what truly matters.
Exactly. Emma thought she had lost her future, but in reality, she was standing at the beginning of a completely new one.
And I think there's a lesson for everyone learning English, too. Don't wait until you're fluent before you help someone. Don't wait until you're confident before you speak. Don't wait until everything is perfect before you begin. Start today, learn today, speak today, because tomorrow's confidence is built by today's courage.
Beautifully said, Mary. And before we finish today's episode, I'd like everyone listening to repeat 3 simple sentences with us. Not just to practice your English, but to remind yourself of today's lesson.
Let's do it together.
I don't need to be perfect. I just need to begin. Pause.
I don't need to be perfect. I just need to begin.
Small actions can change a life. Pause.
Small actions can change a life.
Today, I choose courage over fear. Pause.
Today, I choose courage over fear.
Thank you for spending this time with us. If today's story touched your heart, we hope it also helped your English. Remember, every new word you learn, every conversation you have, and every mistake you make is another step forward. We'll be here, walking that journey with you.
Take care of yourself, keep learning, keep believing. And if someone once believed in you, pass that kindness on to someone else. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.